My name is Ifunanya, but everyone calls me Ifi. There was a time when I believed I was the luckiest woman in Benin City. That was before life showed me that happiness can change quietly, like Hamilton wind that enters your room at night without knocking. I met Emeka when I was 24. He was tall, dark, broad-shouldered, and carried himself like a man who knew where he was going in life. He had that confident Igbo man walk, steady, firm, proud. When he smiled, his left cheek dipped slightly. That was what caught my heart first. We met at a friend's traditional wedding in New Benin. I was helping in the kitchen, sweating over big pots of jollof rice. When he walked in, looking for cold water, instead of asking politely, he said jokingly, "Beautiful woman, are you hiding all the water for yourself?" I rolled my eyes at him. "If you're thirsty, go and fetch from the well." He laughed, a deep, warm laugh. "Ah, so you have a sharp mouth too? I like that." That was how everything started. Within 1 year, we were married. It was not a lavish wedding, but it was beautiful. My white gown was simple lace. My mother cried throughout the ceremony. Emeka held my hand tightly and whispered, "I will never make you regret marrying me." I believed him. The first year of our marriage was like a sweet song. We lived in a small 2-bedroom apartment in Omowo. The walls were not painted well, and the bedroom tap leaked, but it was our home. We would sit outside in the evenings, sharing roasted corn and granuts. He would tell me about his plans to expand his electronics business. I would rest my head on his shoulder and dream about the children we would have. When I got pregnant with our first child, Emeka was overjoyed. He carried me like I was made of glass. He bought fruits every day. He even learned how to cook okra soup because I couldn't stand the smell of pepper. The day I gave birth to Ada, he danced in the hospital corridor. "My daughter," he shouted, "she will be a lawyer." He carried Ada like she was gold. He showed her to every nurse. That night he told me, "If you have given me a princess." I smiled through my exhaustions. 2 years later, I gave birth to Onyi. This time, Emeka did not dance as much, but he was still happy. "Girls are blessings," he said. "They love their fathers more." Life continued. His business grew. We moved to a bigger house in GRA. We bought our first car, a second-hand Toyota Corolla. I was proud of us. Then I got pregnant again. I remember the day I told him. He was sitting in the living room, going through his account book. I stood near the door, nervous for no reason. "Emeka, I'm pregnant again." He looked up slowly. His face did not light up the way it used to. "Oh," he said. "Just oh." I ignored a small sting in my chest. When Mma was born, another girl, something shifted. My mother-in-law came to stay with us. She was not a cruel woman, but her words were heavy. "3 girls," she said one afternoon while rocking the baby. "Ify, you need to pray harder. My son needs a son." I laughed nervously. "Mama, children come from God." She clicked her tongue. "Yes, but you must try." From that time, Emeka changed little by little. It was not sudden. It was small things. He stopped coming home early. He stopped sitting outside with me in the evenings. He stopped telling me about his business. Sometimes I would hear him on the phone speaking in low tones. When I entered the room, he would end the call. "Who was that?" I asked once. "Business," she said. He said sharply. "Must I report every call to you?" That was the first time he spoke to me like that. I swallowed my pain. Then came the fourth pregnancy. I did not even know how to tell him. I was afraid of my own husband. When I finally did, he stared at me for a long time. "It better be a boy this time," he said quietly. His voice scared me more than shouting would have. The months of that pregnancy were lonely. He barely touched me, barely spoke to me. He traveled more often. Sometimes he would not come home for 2 days. The day I went into labor, he was not around. My neighbor drove me to the hospital. After hours of pain, sweat, and tears, I heard the cry. "It's a girl," the nurse said gently. My heart broke before I even saw her face. Chichi was the most beautiful baby I had ever seen. She had skin like her father, big bright eyes, tiny lips that curved like she was smiling at the world. But when Emeka came to the hospital and heard the news, his face hardened. Another girl? He did not carry her. He stood beside my bed and said words I will never forget. "What kind of woman are you, Ify? 4 girls? Am I cursed?" Tears ran down my face. "Emeka, it's not my fault." He hissed loudly and walked out. That was the day my marriage truly began to die. At home, things became worse. He stopped giving me enough money for food. He ignored the children. Ada, who was only 8 then, once asked him, "Daddy, why don't you carry Chichi?" He shouted at her, "Go inside." Ada came to me crying. Nights became cold even when there was no harmattan. He moved to the guest room. He stopped eating my food. He stopped looking at me like a wife. Then one evening he came home with a strange perfume smell on his shirt. I stood in front of him. "Emeka, what is happening? Talk to me." He looked at me with eyes I did not recognize. "You have failed me," he said. My legs felt weak. "I want a son. I deserve a son. Since you cannot give me one, I will find someone who can." The room began to spin. "Emeka, please," I whispered. But he had already made up his mind. What I did not know then was that the worst humiliation of my life was still coming, and it would happen in front of my daughters. There are days in a woman's life that divide her story into two, before and after. The day Emeka sent me and my daughters out of our home was that day for me. It started like any other Saturday morning in Benin City. The sun was already hot by 9 a.m. I was in the kitchen frying akara while Ada and Onyi argued about who would fetch water. Mama was plaiting Chichi's hair gently on the floor. Their small voices filled the house with life. I remember thinking, no matter what is happening between me and Emeka, at least I have my girls. I didn't know that within hours we would no longer have a home. Around noon, I heard a car horn outside. It was not Emeka's usual horn. It was longer, louder, more confident. I wiped my hands on my wrapper and stepped outside. A shiny black SUV was parked in front of our compound. My heart began to beat faster. Emeka stepped out of the driver's seat, dressed in white senator wear, looking proud. Then the passenger door opened. A young woman came down. She couldn't have been more than 23. Light-skinned, long human hair flowing down her back. tight red dress, hugging her body, high heels, clicking confidently on the pavement. She looked around the compound like she was inspecting a property she wanted to buy. My throat went dry. The girls had followed me outside. "Daddy," Chichi shouted happily, running towards him. He carried her halfway, then quickly put her down as if remembering something. The young woman smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "Is this them?" she asked, looking at us like we were stray animals. I felt the slap even before it landed. "Emeka," I whispered. He avoided my eyes. "This is Amara," he said casually. "My wife." The word wife felt like hot oil poured into my ears. "Your what?" My voice shook. "My wife," he repeated firmly. "We did the traditional rites last week in her village." My knees almost gave way. "You're still married to me," I cried. He looked irritated. "If you stop embarrassing yourself. A man can marry more than one wife. But you never told me. I'm telling you now." The girls were confused. Ada stepped forward. "Daddy, who is she?" "From today, she is your mother." Emeka's face hardened as he said, "Never," Ada said under her breath. The sound of that word echoed loudly in the silence. Amara's eyes narrowed. "Emeka, I can't live in the same house with all these children," she said softly but clearly. "There is no space." No space? This was the house I decorated, the house I cleaned, the house where I gave birth to 4 children. Emeka turned to me. "You and your daughters will pack your things." The world stopped. "What?" "I have rented a small space for you in Ogida," he continued coldly. "You can stay there." "Emeka, this is our home," I begged. "Where will we go? The children's school is close to this place." "That is your problem." Tears blurred my vision. "After everything? After standing by you when you had nothing?" He raised his voice. "You gave me 4 girls. 4. What did you expect?" My daughters began to cry. Chichi clung to my wrapper. "Mommy, are we traveling?" I forced a smile I did not feel. "No, my baby." But inside, I was breaking into pieces. Amara walked past me into the house like she already owned it. She touched the curtains, the television, the furniture I bought with my savings. She said, "We will change this." Something rose inside me. Anger, pain, humiliation all mixed together. "Emeka, please," I whispered one last time. "Don't do this to us." He looked at me with eyes that were once full of love. "You have until evening." That was all. He entered the house and shut the door in my face. The sound of that door closing felt like a final judgment. We packed our lives into 4 Ghana must-go bags. Ada tried to be strong. She folded clothes carefully, but I saw her shoulders shaking. Onyi kept asking, "Mommy, what did we do wrong?" Mma sat quietly, hugging Chichi. I wanted to scream. I wanted to fight, but I had no strength left. By evening, a small pickup van arrived. Our things were loaded like we were refugees. As we drove out of the compound, I looked back at the balcony where I used to stand and watch the sunset with Emeka. Amara was standing there now, smiling. The new house in Ogida was nothing like what we left behind. One room, cracked walls, a small window that barely let in light. The bedroom was outside. When the landlord opened the door, the smell of dampness hit my nose. "This is it," he said. I looked at my daughters. They were quiet, too quiet. That night, we spread a thin mattress on the floor. The 4 girls lay close to me like baby chicks under a mother hen. Ada spoke softly in the darkness. "Mommy?" "Yes, my love. Are we not good enough?" Her question pierced my heart. "You are more than enough," I said, holding back tears. "You are my blessings." "But Daddy wanted a boy," she whispered. I pulled her closer. "Listen to me carefully," I said, my voice trembling but firm. "You will become so great that the world will beg to stand near you. Nobody will ever make you feel less because you are girls." In that moment, I made a decision. If Emeka thought sending us away would destroy us, he did not know the strength of a woman who has nothing left to lose. Next morning, I tied my wrapper tightly and stepped out to look for work. I did not know how we would survive. I only knew one thing. I would never allow my daughters to feel unwanted again. But what I did not know was that Emeka's new marriage would not give him the son he desperately wanted. And the wheel of life was already slowly turning. If you have never struggled before, you may not understand how loud hunger can be. Hunger has a sound. It is the sound of children pretending they're not hungry so their mother will not cry. It is the sound of a stomach turning in the night when there is nothing left to cook. It is the silence in a room where dreams feel too big for the space. That was the sound of our life in Ogida. The first few months were the hardest of my life. I had no steady job. Emeka sent small money once or twice, but it was not enough and it stopped completely after a while. When I called him, he did not pick. When I sent messages, he replied only once, "Take care of your daughters. I have a new family now." New family. As if we were old shoes he had thrown away. I started by washing clothes for neighbors. I would wake up by 5 a.m., fetch water from the borehole at the end of the street, and begin scrubbing piles of clothes until my fingers wrinkled and my back ached. The soap would burn the small cuts on my hands, but I endured it. In the afternoons, I fried puff-puff by the roadside near the junction. The hot oil would splash on my skin, leaving small scars on my arms. But every evening when I counted the small notes and coins, I felt like a warrior returning from battle. Ada helped me a lot. She was only 9, but she behaved like she was 19. "Mommy, let me turn the bulb off," she would say. "Go and read your books," I would reply firmly. Education became my obsession. If there was one thing I refused to compromise, it was their schooling. Sometimes we owed school fees. I would go to the headmistress, swallow my pride and beg, "Please give me time. My daughters are brilliant. Don't send them home." By God's grace, most of their teachers were kind. They saw how serious the girls were. At night, after the girls slept, I would sit by the small window and cry quietly. Not because I regretted having them, never that, but because I was tired. There were days I questioned God. Why give me such joy in the beginning, only to take it away, I would whisper. But every morning, I stood up again. One afternoon, about 2 years after we moved, I saw Emeka in town. I was carrying a basin of washed clothes on my head when a shiny car stopped at the traffic light. I did not even recognize it at first. Then I saw him behind the wheel. He looked bigger, richer, gold chain around his neck, dark sunglasses, confidence overflowing. Amara was in the passenger seat. She was pregnant. My heart squeezed painfully. So she had given him what I could not. He saw me. For a second our eyes met. I quickly looked away, but it was too late. He wound down his window. "Ify," he called out. People on the roadside turned to look at me. I slowly walked towards the car. He looked me up and down. My faded wrapper, my worn slippers, the basin on my head. "How are the girls?" he asked casually. "They are fine," I replied. "Good," he said. "Amara is expecting." I forced a small smile. "Congratulations." Amara looked at me with a quiet triumph. "This one must be a boy," she said, confidently rubbing her stomach. I nodded and stepped back as the traffic light turned green. As their car drove away, something inside me broke again, but this time, it did not destroy me, it strengthened me. That night, I gathered my daughters. "You must work hard," I told them, "harder than anyone else. Your success will speak louder than any insult." Ada looked at me with fire in her eyes. "We will make you proud, Mommy." And they did. Years passed. Life was not easy, but it became steady. I expanded from puff to selling small chops for events. I learned how to bake cakes from a woman in our church. I saved every naira carefully. Ada gained admission to study law at the University of Benin. The day her admission letter came, we all screamed inside that tiny room. Onyi followed later, studying medicine. Mma chose accounting. And little Chichi, my last baby, grew into the boldest of them all. She studied engineering. Each admission felt like a victory against everything Emeka had said about us. During those years, we heard news about him from time to time. Amara had given birth to a girl. The news reached me through an old neighbor who still liked to gossip. I sat quietly when I heard it. A girl. Months later, another news came. Amara was pregnant again. People whispered that Emeka had started visiting prayer houses looking for solutions. When the second child came, it was another girl. I did not rejoice. I did not mock. I simply closed my eyes and sighed. Life has a way of teaching lessons without shouting, but I also heard other things. That Emeka's business was no longer booming like before, that he had invested money in a risky deal that failed, that Amara loved expensive things, clothes, parties, trips, that there was frequent fighting in their house. One evening, Ada came home from school during a holiday and said quietly, "Mommy, I saw Daddy today." My heart skipped. "Where?" "At a restaurant. He looked different." "How?" "He looked worried." I said nothing. Inside me, emotions were fighting. Anger, pity, confusion. He had broken us, but he was still the father of my children. The day Ada graduated from law school, I wore my best lace wrapper and matching head tie. I sat among proud parents in the large university hall, tears running freely down my face as her name was called. Barrister Adaeze Emeka, she walked confidently across the stage. For a moment, I thought about the man who once said we were not enough. He was not there, but I was, and that was enough. By the time all 4 of my daughters graduated and secured good jobs, people in our area began to look at us differently. "See Ify's daughters," they would say, "so respectful, so successful." We moved from that one-room apartment to a better house, then an even better one. For the first time in years, I began to breathe without fear. I thought the past was finally behind us. I did not know that the past was about to knock on my door again. Not with pride this time, but with desperation. And when it did, it would test the strength of my heart in ways I never expected. There is something life does that no human being can escape. It humbles you. Sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly. In Emeka's case, it came both ways. By the time my last daughter, Chichi, graduated from the university, our lives had changed completely. Ada was working in a top law firm in Lagos. Onyi had become a medical doctor doing her residency. Mma was working with an international accounting firm in Abuja. And Chichi, my last born, had secured a job with an engineering company in Port Harcourt. When I look back at those years, I don't even know how we survived them. The same girls who once shared one mattress on the floor were now flying in airplanes for work trips. The same girls who were once called not good enough were now being introduced at events with pride. And they did not just succeed, they succeeded with grace. Each of them married good men, wealthy men, yes, but more importantly, kind men. Men who respected them, men who respected me. On Ada's wedding day, when she walked down the aisle in her wedding gown, she looked like royalty. The hall in Lagos was decorated with fresh flowers. The air conditioner was cold. Soft music played in the background. As I sat in the front row, people greeted me with respect. "Mama Barrister," they said with smiles. My heart was full. But there was an empty seat beside me, her father's seat. Emeka was invited. Ada insisted. "He's still my father," she said. But he did not come. Later we heard why. His business had collapsed completely. A bad investment, debts, court cases. People he trusted had betrayed him. The big house in GRA had been sold. The flashy cars were gone. And Amara, she did not stay to suffer with him. We heard that when money became tight and creditors began knocking on the gates, her attitude changed. The same woman who once inspected my curtains and planned to replace them started packing her own things. One afternoon, according to what people said, she loaded her boxes into her brother's car and left with her 2 daughters. Just like that, Emeka was alone. The same man who once told me, "I have a new family now." Life has a strange way of repeating words back to us. I did not see him again until the day he showed up at my gate. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon in Benin. I had just returned from church. I was sitting in my living room, sipping zobo and enjoying the peace that now surrounded my life. The house was not as big as the one we once lived in GRA, but it was comfortable, clean, warm, filled with framed photos of my daughter's graduations and weddings. Then my gatekeeper came inside. "Madam," he said slowly, "there is one man outside. He says his name is Emeka." My heart skipped. For a moment, I could not breathe. "After all these years, let him in," I said quietly. When he walked into my compound, I almost did not recognize him. The tall, proud man I married had shrunk. His shoulders were bent. His beard was gray and unkempt. His once smooth dark skin looked tired and dry. His clothes were clean but old. His eyes no longer carried pride, they carried shame. He stood in front of me but did not move closer. "Ify," he said softly. The sound of my name in his mouth after so many years felt strange. I nodded. "Emeka." For a few seconds we just looked at each other. Then I noticed how thin he had become. "Are you okay?" I asked before I could stop myself. He let out a dry laugh. I am not okay. We sat down in the living room. The silence between us was heavy with history. I have been sick, he said finally. High blood pressure, diabetes. It has not been easy. I listened quietly. No money, he continued. Business gone. House gone. Even Amara. He swallowed hard. She left. I felt a mixture of emotions rising inside me. This was the man who threw me and my daughters out without mercy. The man who did not attend a single graduation. The man who called us a failure. And now he sat in my living room broken. I know I have no right to ask you for anything, he said, his voice trembling slightly. But Ify, I have nowhere else to go. There it was, the moment life had been preparing me for. He lowered his head. I was wrong, he whispered. I was proud. I was foolish. I thought having a son was everything. I hurt you. I hurt my daughters. Hearing him admit it did not bring the victory I imagined it would. Instead, it brought a deep, aching sadness. Why now? I asked quietly. Because I'm alone, he replied honestly, and I'm tired. He looked around at the framed photos on my wall. They have done well, he said, our daughters. I saw tears gather in his eyes. I was not there, he added. No, he wasn't. I stood up and walked to the window, needing space to think. Memories rushed back. The day we were sent away, the nights of hunger, the humiliation, the tears of my children. I could still hear Ada's voice asking, are we not good enough? My back stiffened. But then another memory came. The vows we once made, the early years, the man who danced when Ada was born. Life is not simple. I turned back to him. What exactly are you asking from me, Emeka? He hesitated. I'm asking for forgiveness, he said. And, if possible, a place to stay while I recover. The room felt suddenly smaller. Forgiveness. A place to stay. After everything. Before I could respond, the gate opened again. Ada walked in. She had come to visit unexpectedly. She froze when she saw him. Daddy? Her voice was calm, but I could see the storm behind her eyes. Emeka stood up slowly. Ada, he said, almost like he was not sure he deserved to say her name. The air was thick with years of pain, and I knew that whatever decision I made next would not just affect me, it would affect all of us. When Ada saw her father standing in my living room that afternoon, time seemed to stand still. For a few seconds, nobody moved. Emeka looked smaller than I had ever seen him. Not just physically small, but reduced, like a man who had finally seen the weight of his own mistakes. Daddy, Ada repeated. Her voice was calm, but I knew my daughter. I carried her in my womb. I knew the storm that could hide behind her quietness. Emeka cleared his truth. Ada, my daughter. The word sounded unfamiliar on his lips. Ada dropped her hand back gently on the chair. She walked closer, studying his face. The once proud man who refused to attend her graduation now stood before her, fragile. You look unwell, she said carefully. He nodded. I have not been strong. Silence filled the room again. I stepped forward. Your father came to talk. Ada looked at me, searching my face. I knew what she was asking without speaking. Mommy, what is he doing here? Emeka slowly sat back down. His hands trembled slightly. I came to apologize, he said, to all of you. Ada let out a short breath. It was not laughter. It was not anger. It was something in between. Apologize? She repeated. He nodded. For living, for the things I said, for choosing pride, over my family. The room felt heavy with truth. Ada folded her arms. Do you know what it felt like, Daddy? Watching other girls sit with their fathers at school events? Do you know what it felt like when people whispered that you chased us away because we were not boys? Her voice did not rise. That made it even more powerful. Emeka's head dropped. I know I cannot change the past, he said quietly, but I'm deeply sorry. I saw Ada's jaw tighten. You did not even come for my call to bra, she continued. You did not come for Onyi's induction. You did not come for Mma's graduation. You did not come for Chichi's wedding introduction. Each sentence was like a stone placed carefully on the table between them. Emeka wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. I was ashamed, he admitted. When my business started falling, I told myself I would come when things improved. But things never improved, and the longer I stayed away, the harder it became to return. That was pride. The same pride that once destroyed us. Ada looked at me again. Mommy, she said softly. It was time. I took a deep breath. Your father is sick, I said gently. He has nowhere to stay. Ada's eyes widened slightly and is asking for forgiveness. The word forgiveness hung in the air like a fragile glass. Ada walked to the wall where our family pictures were hung. She touched one. The photo from her wedding. I stood beside her in that picture, smiling with pure joy. He made us feel like we were nothing, she whispered. I swallowed hard, yes. She turned to face me. And you want to help him? That question was not accusation, it was confusion. I thought of the years in Ogida, the hunger, the tears, the way my daughters clung to me at night. Then I thought of something else. If I allowed bitterness to control me now, what would that teach my daughters? That love depends on convenience? That we only show kindness when it is deserved? I walked slowly towards Emeka. You broke us, I said quietly. He nodded, tears falling freely now. But God rebuilt us, I continued. Not so we can become hard-hearted. Not so we can become what hurt us. I turned to Ada. My daughter, we did not survive all those years to let hatred live in this house. Ada's eyes filled with tears. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then she walked slowly towards her father. I cannot pretend the pain did not happen, she said, but I will not carry it forever. Emeka looked up at her, shocked. He bent down slightly and hugged him. It was not a long hug, but it was enough. He broke down completely. I'm sorry, he kept repeating. I'm sorry. I felt my own tears fall. Years of pain were melting quietly in that living room. Emeka moved into the boys' quarters behind my house, not as a husband, not as a master of the house, but as a man who needed help. The girls discussed it among themselves. Some found it harder than others. Onyi struggled the most. He did not care when we were suffering, she said one evening during a family meeting. I know, I replied. But we are not helping him because he deserves it, Mma added softly. We are helping him because we choose to. That was maturity. Chichi, my last born, surprised me the most. I used to think Daddy did not love us, she said quietly. Maybe he was just weak. Weak, yes, not evil, just weak. We arranged proper medical care for him. Onyi personally spoke to one of her senior colleagues at the hospital. Ada handled some of his old legal debts. Mma helped organize his remaining finances, not because he earned it, but because grace decided to speak louder than pain. Months passed. Emeka began to regain some strength. he would sit in the compound in the evenings, watching his grandchildren play. Sometimes I would see him staring at them with deep regret in his eyes. One evening, as the sun set over Benin, painting the sky orange and gold, he spoke quietly. "Ify." I looked at him. "Thank you," he said, "for not becoming bitter." I smiled gently. It was not easy. I know, he paused. I spent years chasing a son. In the end, it was my daughters who saved me. Tears filled his eyes again. Life had taught him what no argument ever could. Today, when people ask about my story, I do not tell it with anger. I tell it with truth. Yes, I was rejected. Yes, I was humiliated. Yes, I cried until my pillow was soaked. But I also witnessed something powerful. I saw 4 girls rise from rejection into greatness. I saw hard work silence insults. I saw grace rebuild what pride destroyed. And I saw a broken man find redemption in the very family he once threw away. Sometimes Emeka sits quietly and says, "If only I knew then what I know now." But life does not move backwards, it moves forward. And forward is where we are. I'm no longer the young woman who begged her husband not to send her away. I am a mother of strong women, a grandmother, a survivor. And when I look at my daughters Ada, Onyi, Mma, and Chichi, I do not see the girls who were once called not enough. I see my greatest blessing. And that is more than enough.